friends despise, forsake thee. Take it to the Lord in prayer.
Imaling tahun hoti katalagwa why hindi tatleto ngayon so nga hindi tali bangan dia ini ngayon atak dia dun ang Jesus sa kung dia ang hindi to pa na kaya hindi strong yun nga pamulat sa sige nga si Abraham nagino na one waya so hindi siyang muinong talila mga siya si to pa so ite dia pinta sa kay ingat si na dong noni pa naman to pa pikir la pa kung ngien lai din som tung kia muinong tali bang at si dia ati
Tuna religion ina lesson thum isota. The first one is how religion begin. Number 2 Hinduism. How Hinduism was started and what are the belief of Hinduism. Kita again kina aba Buddhism. Lagi kina. Today our lesson would be Jainism. 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 Today I'm going to teach what is Jainism, how was Jainism started, and what are the core beliefs of Jainism. That will be our lessons for this morning. And this Jainism also started in the 6th century BC. Started in 6th century BC. And also the founder was Nataputa, Natapu, Nataputa Vardhamana. Vardhamana was the founder of Jainism. It was known by his nickname Mahavira. Mahavira. And it was started in India. It was started in India. And their sacred book is known by the name the Agamas. A-G-A-M-A, the Agamas. Okay, Jainism was mainly found in India. So let be the introductory part of the religion. Now I'm going to tell about the story, how Jainism was started. It is very similar to Buddhism. You already heard about the story of Gautama Buddha. Now we are going to hear how this Jainism was started through Mahavira. They are almost in the same period of time. Prince Gautama the Buddha was the prince of the Sakya kingdom. This Prince Mahavira was the prince of Magadha kingdom. They are both in North India. Gautama Buddha is not the only one who tried to reform, who tried to improve the religions of the Hindus. The most noted of this reformer is this Mahavira, which we are going to study today. The story of this Mahavira is very much alike with the story of Buddha, so you have to know the difference. A little difference would be there. In the year 600 BC, the people of the kingdom of Magadha, M-O-G-A-D-H, Magadha, in the north of India, gathered in their capital, Vesali is the capital of the Magadha kingdom, for a great celebration. And this celebration was not for other purpose other than celebrating the birth of Mahavira. This Mahavira is the second son of the king of Magadha. He is the second son of the king of Magadha. At that time, many holy men from the Ganges and the Himalayan mountain came to see the baby prince and foretold a great future for him. When that baby, Prince Vardhamana, was still very young, he had many teachers. Some of them taught how to use the bow and arrow, and some teacher taught how to manage wild horse, and the royal animal trainer taught him how to manage elephant. And a story goes like this. One day, while they were playing with his friend, a very angry elephant came towards them, trembling upon stampeding upon everything on its way. At the time, it is said that that boy, that Vardhamana, stood motionless in front of the elephant, and being trained by the animal trainer, he caught hold of the trunk of the elephant in a way he had been taught, and climbed to the elephant's head and drove him back to the stable where the keepers could chain him. So that incident, that very incident, that act of bravery made him famous. So since childhood, he had been called the great hero. Mahavira means the great hero. That is how he became to be known the great hero, due to his act of valor, act of courage in his childhood. So when Prince Mahavira grew up and was 19 years old, he became interested in the lovely princess. So his wife is Yosadha. Her wife is Yosadha. Yosadha. That is his wife. Okay. He married her and then settled in the royal palace with the rest of the royal family. So for nearly 10 years, the prince and his family lived happily together in the royal palace of the kingdom of Magadha. But what changed his life? Let us remember this. When Prince Mahavira was on his 30th, when he was 30 years old, both his father and mother died, one immediately after the other. They died not through accident or illness, but from slow starvation without eating and drinking. Not that the king and the queen could not get enough to eat. They starved to death themselves on purpose. And the very reason is that in those days in India, some people consider death by starvation is a holy death. So the name of his father and mother is King Sri Yama and Queen Trisala. Try to remember that name. Sri Yama is his father, and Trisala is his mother. They were very religious. Both his parents were very religious, so they starved themselves so that they would die a holy death. So the loss of his parents so grieved Prince Mahavira that he went to his older brother, who was now king of Magadha, and said to them, "Brother, to mourn the death of our parents, I wish to take the vow that for 12 years I shall neglect my body and suffer all calamities arising from divine powers, men or animals." kumsol ni isung nule pa kasun na katak sa tunga bangteng hong tung tazog na kathuak ding hi. China tuchiam habol ding kaya chia. But his brother, the king, pleaded with him and said, Vira, the death of our parents are still fresh in our memories. Your leaving us at this time would simply make our sorrow more painful. Prince Mahavira consented to remain at home for 2 years. That is, when he took a vow, he was already 28 years. So he remained in the palace for 2 more years. But after 2 years, he left home and went out of the city of Vesali. So that is, on his 30th year, he left home, he left his palace in search of wisdom. At the outskirts of the city, he changed his clothes for those of the beggar monk. Then he took another vow. When he was 30 years, he took another vow. The vow of silence. The vow of silence. So from that vow of silence, what he said is that from this moment and for 12 years, I shall not utter a single word. Kung so many sung ding ding, kapaw kekading, jiway vow of silence. Allah ay. After making that vow of silence, Mahavira started out as a wanderer over the land. As one of the many thousands of monks of India, he started a wandering life like the monk. When passing through towns and villages, Mahavira would stretch out his cup for kind people to put into, begging for food, so to say. And in the woods he lived upon wild fruit and berries. Wild fruit and berries. Most of the time he spent in the woods or the mountains, sitting alone and thinking about the teaching of his religion. Being the sons of a king, he had learned many things from his parents' religion. He had learned a lot of others' knowledge from different subjects also. But at the same time, in those days, they mostly learn. They are very learned in their religion. So what happened is what this changed his life once more. For 12 years, Mahavira went about without once uttering a single word. But one day, what happened is this one. During his wandering, Mahavira came to a grazing field outside the village where a shepherd was looking after a small flock of sheep. At the time, the shepherd told him, "If you will look after my flock while I run down to the village for food, I'll bring some food for you too." So Mahavira nodded his head. To show his consent, but he don't speak out. And the shepherd left. Soon after the shepherd left, what happened? A wolf came out of the woods, and before Mahavira could drive him off, the wolf killed a lamb and carried it away. When the shepherd returned and found one of his lamb had gone, he demanded an explanation. But Mahavira could not answer him. But Mahavira remained silent. And the shepherd was so angry with him. The shepherd shouted and struck Mahavira over the head with his staff, with his stick. Mahavira could have explained what became of the lamb, but he did not want to break his vow of silence. He was much stronger man than the shepherd and could have defended himself, but he had made a vow not to protect himself against any evil. which might befall him, whether from nature, from man, or from animal. So he did not repay him back. He did not defend himself. The shepherd kept striking Mahavira until he began to bleed. But when he began to bleed, he suddenly stopped and looked at the bleeding monk with fears in his eyes. And what did he proclaim? That shepherd proclaimed, "You are the first man I ever met," he said in a trembling voice, "who would not protect himself or else run away. You must be a very holy man." And even at the time, Mahavira did not answer, but arose and started to walk away. But the shepherd ran after him and asked his forgiveness. Mahavira nodded his head again as a sign that he forgave him and walked on. So the shepherd watched at the monk and murmured these words, "This monk has taught me a great lesson. Silence is stronger than words." Silence is stronger than words. Mahavira wondered on thinking, and Mahavira had learned one lesson from that incident. "This incident has taught me a great lesson. Humility is better than pride, and peace is stronger than anger." Humility is better than pride, and peace is stronger than anger. So that is the first lesson Mahavira had learned during his 12 years of his search for wisdom. Kinainyam natu kisakhe nasang ina ahat zoa, topi zoa. Peace is stronger than anger. He nasang ina nunem napin hat zo hidan. Hongzel kitahe. But you know, at the end of 12 years, kumsom na hikitina, Mahavira did not return to his family, but he went out to spread the ideas that he had patiently thought out during the years of silence. Kung som na living then, Paulo aking ngai to anaka atil zil hiak te ka mi te kya nga hong ban genta. From place to place he went, preaching to all who would listen to him. Many of these ideas were not so new, but people began to appreciate his new teaching. And Mahavira is a great speaker. The people say to each other, he speaks the truth. So many of them became his follower, and with this, he organized a brotherhood of monks and a sisterhood of nuns, and that started his new religion. And some of his main teaching were this. Mahavira began his teaching by explaining his belief that all of man's life was suffering. So, his main doctrine, his main teaching. From his personal experience, he made up his mind to search for a new religion, to search for a new truth after the death of his parents. So that is the starting point. So all his religion will be based on that experience. So he tried to explain his belief that all of man's life was suffering. Birth was suffering, illness was suffering, death was suffering, not getting what one wants is suffering. Haksat na gente na kechi bang hiam chi definition hongbol som nai na ming te hin khwa pe uma ka gim thuak na nge nei pa po na mau na ngen hi chi na na mau na nge nei. But was suffering. Ipian kia kapan na gim thuak hipan idam lok bele suffering. Isi na le suffering hi ve ide ilunggu te de nei lo na le suffering hi ve Kill them ka suffering na hi. Kata Solomon na all is vanity. Achi bang na kill bang teng bang ma lo hi chi da na aman. Hoila ma extreme ta kina kill ka hong la ai le hi chabang hak sat na te ko panung ki panding hiam, where does the suffering of the world comes from? Chia do ta tak chia ngena adona chabang hiam. The suffering of the world comes from desire. Lunggul nai ni na te zia ka kha leitunga gim thuak na hong ki pan hi. People suffer and are unhappy because they want so many things. People suffer and are unhappy because they want so many things. Idu ilunggul atam lot zia ka igim thuak le lahi. No matter how much a man gets of food and wealth and fame, he always wants more. Desire is the cause of all suffering. Define that. Neg di bangzat kining chingnei na sumle pai hausat nate minthan nate bangzat nei lengle dei be lai hi tel check na. Desire is the cause of all suffering. Jang conclude bokay saman. Lunggul na kezia ka ka leitunga gimthuak na om hi china amana hong conclude ta he ai le why bana to nam no chu how are you to do with suffering ai le why suffering pain hin khwa pan lak na dingina bang chi bang pan lak de chi hit le adon na chu by giving up all desire mo by giving up all desire thilunggul na teng ti pai hyak cheng ina. When a man gives up all desire, then he can prepare himself for the greatest happiness of the soul, which is nirvana. Nirvana chi kamau habdam na chi na la hiya. Eni nga date na lunggul na thil teng tengi pai hiat chang ina kipa na bukin. Nga thading chi kamau lamet na ama thil jong hiat da nai. And what is the way to nirvana? Chi hong non ta people like wanted to know. Amanadon na the way to nirvana is through the three jewels of the soul. Three jewels of the soul. No, three jewels. Three jewels of the soul. Okay? Three jewels of the soul. Teka bang bang hiam chi le get kya wala. Right conviction. Abana right knowledge. About right conduct. Three jewels of the soul. Right conviction, right knowledge, and right conduct. Here, three jewels of the soul. Right conduct comes first. The right conduct comes adin. And the right conduct of a man is found in the 5 commandments of the soul. Three jewels of the soul banaka. 5 commandments of the soul. Five commandments of the soul. Do not kill any living things or hurt any living things by word, thought, or deed. Neto note ng kumpiti nga ko na siyempre masagutulay get masalaw din po ilaway. Hinanay kempe bang mathalaw din. Ikampa itale, ithilhiya itale. Amaw te sukhat law din. Ay kele sumnat law din. Okay. Number 2, do not steal. Gukta law din. Number 3, do not lie. Zogyan law din. Number 4, do not live an unchaste life and never become intoxicated. Hinkhwa siyang tholo. Zat law him din. Zukham law din. Abana, do not covet or desire anything. Atamana. Tilbang ma en na ni loading or desire anything. Tilbang ma lunggul na loading. Sibok na ay heka 5 commandments of the soul. Asa ko kinak na. Hating na himoka. The way to happiness is the way to nirvana. 3 jewels of the soul. Right conviction, right knowledge, right conduct. No. Right conduct kichi khar ang gamta dan dik pen kha yai 5 commandments of the soul tung to na mu thi ai Hoi te khatua again te here. Anyone who follow this commandment lives the good life. Kay dan na zuizo te pen. Hoi te pen kha mi hoi. Chỉ ding ai chia. Ai le asa ho thil lama khalam thil kha tel lo bang. Ai chu he thupiak te masa ka. Mahavira ina he do not believe in caste system. Nam nyan nam sang ki ken pe na mana ging ta kayang. And he do not believe in prayers. Mo thum na ki chi khong le ging ta lo ai chuman. Prayers have any value or do anyone any good. Chỉ một lần này về, thùng là này nghe lo tiền mo, thùng là bên này khai hiu, ai hàng người ta ăn thùng là dính tao luôn. If you do not believe in the holiness of the caste, and if you do not believe in the bread Brahma created the world, and if you do not believe the making sacrifice to the gods or saying prayer can do any good, where can one ought to search for forgiveness from sin? Chỉ có tao tập chắc nghe nè. Nang mo chibang tele ging talo na ile khel ngai dam nai chia mai kele phatam na bang chimu dinga ti chengena Mahaviran adon na pen kya hi anang ai ole not in prayer thum na yam nor in sacrifice nor in idol worship will you find forgiveness. Only by doing good can you reach nirvana. Nasep hoi na tung ton kya kahot dam na mudin hiu. Che within yourself lies salvation. Hot dam na ke ha na ngai. Nang tung to na nga ke. Nang ki pian zo tung to na nga ke hi. Che ai le hi chbang mai mai ya ka sa kwa. Kong ding ke thi di hiam chi dot na om no na hi na ka. Apan kong gen lai ding ha. Ke Mahavira tang thu ka genta a commandments te adan thu teu le genta Buddhism to kinak bat ma ama a kadren gen thak len ka ani to ko na kumpi tapa to ka hiwa an anaw pang laiwa hang san to le hiwa hoi bana ziene to kwa azine kitun le hun bang zahiam kha azi to in Royal Palace na kumpi wang sunga pa sa to kwa Kuchina kum som khit nung tuak kina ain le lo teu tai sanina azi la ta teu tai sanina thudik thutak zongina pot ke tuak chi imwa hoibana both of them started a new religion sa khodang Hinduism sa ko to kibang lo sa ko dang ong put ke tuak ko he asa ko pu khyak teu le kha akibat na akinai ma ani to ko na Hindu sa ko adik lo na gen to ko ai hangina both of them believe in reincarnation and nirvana kibige ma leitung na ho isep le ipian non che gina sang ta ka pian ding chi te kha aging ta ve but with a little modification. Here are the difference between Buddhism and Jainism. Buddha travels through the middle path. Buddha ina alai zang pen mo, both extreme pen ka. Here ka thil thung in kot taleng ka. Buddha ina the middle path pen ka follow in chen. Here ka pen ke a life of pleasure. Nok ta na in kwa. He pen kha ahu alai ge ichidinga middle part ichidinga he pen kha ma ni kisuk gen thikna Buddha nga lihay gel kha more extreme kha dik lawin chen aya Mahavira choose this other extreme more so Buddhism follow the middle part a life of moderation ay hangina Mahavira ina mani kisuk gen thikna tungto na hot dam na nga dikha Hoi Mahavira hoi lampang ina aon ahi. Jadi nga asceticism pe naman promote asceticism kichuchu self torture asceticism. Mani hin huwa kisuk gen thi na tung to na hatam na nga ka. Mahavira ina promote mo kahi. He believed that self-denial and even self-torture help a man to reach the good life. Anule pale hoi dana si hi mo kai changa hoi na lung tang su kama mai dinga an ngola si mo ko zo hoi pen kamao pa khen lama hat na holiday da na ngai to hit ma ka amana sa ko tha ka le ka self torture kala khat kisu gen the na tung ton aka hin hoi zo za the hi chi ka pa khat gen de na hi. But Mahavira also say that even trees and water and fire and certain vegetables have souls. Buddha sang extreme zong na pen kha aman kha singalo hing te tan phain le kha nei di hiu che kha jin tan chin. If a man live a bad life, he might not even be born again in the body of a pig or a snake or a frog, but he might even be born again to find himself a carrot, a beet, or even an onion. Chị thấy không? Khói tê lê mi khắp biển nôn thể. Chị khai kinh tạc tàn mô cái. Khói tê kê na extreme mà tâm phiêu mà. Ai để hiếp biển nó ngay vậy? Thu kinh nụ khắp. And that was not the worst. Down somewhere, down deep under the surface of the earth. Hey lay, hey art noy lama ka, no. Hey art noy lama. Hey lay tung kha. Hey anoy lam pe ka layer, tam pyo mention. Layer sagi. 7 hells. Kitsi kha lay noy lam om si. Sang so bang kitwa dek tak mo. Lay noy lam pen kasar udi koi check ina mountain magma. Ejik. Lay noy lam pen. 7 hells om maging town chin. Down deep under the surface of the earth were 7 hells, one below the other, and it's more terrible. As sa same 7 hells. Bad souls that kept on being bad might find themselves in those hells. It's ahin kowa hoilo same te kha. He 7 hells kha. Te kha thuklut same diu che. Mahavira seemed to believe that soul of living things had why bana a teaching kaya eh. Kha nei pe umain kha, khain kha, soul kha ane ya. When a soul sin, it becomes heavy and sink down. Ikhel na pen atam lo chengina I kha pen honggit dik lewina. Tum same sink down. If it sinned very much, it might sink down to the 7 hell. No. Ikhel na pen awat lo chengina hei ngot mun sagi na tanaka. Lord deng chi eh. I'll huchilo lama at another extreme of kabang. Hil ko hoy same is at lebang chiding. When a soul becomes good and pure, it rises and floats up to one of the 26 heavens that rise one above the other. Jainism ina 7 hells kin sound jin lei noya. Aba na kha van tung lama kha van bangja kanoma chi le 26 heavens. Van tung lama kha 26 heavens kanoma hi che jo. Ilai sung thong bel van thum na tan chi again khale la. Ke in Jainism temple 26 heavens in time. When a soul becomes so good and so pure that it is light enough to float up to the 26th heaven, then it enters nirvana. Mahavira for 30 years, Mahavira traveled through India, preaching against caste and explaining his belief in heaven and hell. Teaching Abola. When he was 70 years old, he came to a place called Pava. Pava kasi munhung tuma. 70 years there the Lord Mahavira took ill and could not travel anymore. Pagkadamlo ina abana son hinon kaya. Kuchi naman pa a followers ng samkol mina. Kaya preaching Abola. Hoy a preaching ball pen ha. No, a sermon ball pen ha. Lai bua hong ki ko ina. Hoy a preaching ball pen ha. Agamas hong ki si mo. a preaching bote pen kha agamas kong ti di ngai kha asa khlai bung pen khen na hi di phedinga last sermon ai chu he agamas pi chi khamo asi di ko na kum som sa gi hi a sermon bol pen kha anung zui te na kha honggel khiam ching hoi kha agamas kong ti che ai le anung zui ten kha he dot na bolwa master, which is the most important of all your commandments? You don't not about na aman kawai 5 commandments of the soul telek akhat pen amasa pen chechu hoi chu bang. Do not kill any living beings, do not kill any living things or hurt any living things by what thought or deed. Do not kill animals for food kitai chu thil bang ma hinna nei khem pe bang ma tha lo ding suk le suk nat lo ding chi telek changa mo hinna nei lo om lo ai chu mo khavela kha tan nei do not kill animals for food. Do not hunt nor fish. Nor even kill the least creature at any time. Do not kill the mosquito that bites you. Or the beast that stings you. Do not go to war. Do not fight back, you're a taker. No, fight back, do not step upon a worm or on the roadside. Even the worm has a soul. Jainism. Come on. India influence Jainism. The first commandment of Mahavira is known by his followers ahimsa. Ahimsa Mahatma Gandhi le. Mahatma Gandhi le. Ahimsa is a non-violence law, which means non-injury to anything that has a soul. Ito na ito. Ahimsa. Diyan din lang. Teaching about na Mahavira na si Isada. Mahavira ka pava kichi mo na ka. Siya dyan na pava, P-A-V-A. Hepen ka holy ground for his follower. No, pava kichi kasi na muna hiya. Kasi na kuha hiya hepen kamaw. Saka din na kuha mo tak kung suwa kayo. Ay huchi tak siya gina. Hey Jainism sakwa kichi ka India ki panikiya hiya. A followers tam bide ka India oma. Hoy ka India kopi tenga ka enleo chin ka. Non-veg, mo. Restaurant pe umaka. Veg non-veg kichi ka tiget veg di mo. Sa na le sa lo na veg di. Mix kom ngay lo di mo. Ani to ka na kichi ka ngay lo ay chu kopi ko nga ka. Hoy ka hoy India. Dana le to na ka sa ko ki za tak sak kichi na ka mo. Veg non-veg kichi ka kom ngay lo di mo. Ne do kopi te ka. Jainism the influence here. Amao tena ganing tha lo ding chi che kwa kha ko che banga sahim ne thei lo mo khatna ani na khayai sa khwa zui he sa khwa kul mun ma ten kha sipaya la pang thei lo i chang mo mi tha thei lo i chang ma sipaya pang thei lo khoi ba na lo le kho thei lo diu bang je ke na lâu và khâu leo tăng tiêu không mixi không thật khá điều mà chỉ lại mà bây giờ cam mau sạc của duy vek lên bel ăn ngô la cái si vek là kilo mà cô chỉ chơi na amau thì ai lệ bằng chơi bằng cái này cái giống ngô lệ cái chơi na asa của đan hi mình na universal religion thì thầy bảo lâu mà meeting thế na sạc của duy thầy lâu đây chứ meeting amau sạc của duy vek lệ có mà ăn dần lên lâu đỉnh ai lâu chi na sạc có tích lâu hiện na kia nga lấy tung ai để chơi lâu bị khát mà ai bảo na ai lệ mà hồi chi sạc có gin mà ông có mình na bằng chỉ bằng na neck tag zone na anh ấy chỉ để khá mà sạc có cái thuốc thay phèn dia neck zone na chú bằng nhà mình chỉ lệ bankers không mà bank không à xem tam điều mà Jainism để khá ai bảo na ya business thiel dia same deal. Farmers are kholo deal. Baba na sepai hiam. Ai kele zoologist khong ai kele thil tom te mo asa ko in phalo icha nga kha hoje kena heya James te kha India tamma ma adi wo helai book ki line le kha more than 2 crore lam khanom ve wa ai le heya mostly in India oma hi wa amao temple min thangma kha Mount Abu chi cham te Mount Abu kha 7 wonders of the world tele ka le pangkhadik mo Mount Abu 7 wonders of the world tele ka get na chene min thangma ma chin ai chu amao ten kha they give charity daily aki pian zo na ma amao he no na mo cham te non they give charity daily. But the Jains must never think of it as charity. He must feel it his duty to give to the needy all he can give. When they go to the temple to pray before the image of their 24 jinas, conqueror achi mo leitung akha misyang tho som ni li omin chin 24 jinas he 24 jinas telaka he Mahavira pen hamo Mahavira pen kha 24 na siu chu pai misyang tho som ni li leitung oma ki pan anom telaka Mahavira ka top na 24 na chin chin he te kya thum mo he jinas achi misyang tho som ni li achi he ding thum mun chin. They ask for the peace and joy of all living beings before they ask for any favors for themselves. Athum pe wa chamuna leitunga hinne khem pe tena nom ta ka hin khwaza hin di wa thum sa ge mo. And the favor they usually ask for themselves are not well and honor. Athum changwa ka hausat na di hiam min than na di hang thum lo chen, but the gift of nirvana. The gift of nirvana. Koi lung nop na kipa na di na athum mo hi che khahi ya kha sak palam dang ma ka ya ai ha India mi tam bi te he na nak influence ma ama in sin he nak influence ma zekina bangom ya mi chin le he India he Jain sten ka India amitam pi thuzo je kena hopi khonga Delhi khong aitele Mumbai Kolkata khong paileu chen kha athona an nek thina tama tamai pi chabanga temple mai khong wa mo an piakeu kha a special ma te amau nek te ma te khong kha belian pi huanun chimai kha ni teng phiala kha ana thona ho mo pa ka beggars te khong ina pa khong ka hin pi hi mai ma ai chu Kaya mau hucu banga aki pal nau athona anhom na khong kha amau te na pathian na sep na thopi pen da na ngai tom chen ko jaga kha India da kitok ma mo India mi zong mi gen thei tam pi te mau sak ko jaga na pan pi kholo he ala tu na no kong hom ding a in do bi ma enole Jainism kha a founded 6th century founder Natapuda Vardhamana. Exact year of his life, 599-427 BC. The Agamas, which contain the sermon of Lord Mahavira, basic teaching of the Agamas are reverence for life. This religion imposed upon followers vegetarianism. About opposition to war, asceticism, non-violence, even in self-defense. Mahatma Gandhi na distribution ka exclusively in India. Munda ki mukhallo mo. Kabana Jainism ka divided into two: white droplet, skyclad. Pwede ka kikenwa. Apuan silmate wa ka amau kala kikenna ka kihei leleh. The story of Lord Mahavira kichigen non kidinga aditeli na konggenta hete ka. 3 levels of the soul te ka bang bangale: right conviction, right knowledge, right conduct. No. What are the 3 levels of the soul kichili wa ka? Abana 5 commandments of the soul te ka sakya. And when you follow these commandments leads to good life. Not in prayer, nor in sacrifice, nor in idol worship will you find forgiveness and the way to the good life. Only by doing good can you reach nirvana. Sino? Kaya ka, reincarnation ka gintawa, ay hangin na extreme zone mo. Reincarnation na ka, kaya Jainism kaya na ka, 7 hells tan tuntik mo. Aba na ahin ko ako iluan le ka, 26 heavens tan tuntik. Aba na 24 jinas gong gintaon sin. Ali hay Jainism sa ko kong bang siya kay siya, ditela, kung hipi kaya yung siya na. Laisen ko itaka, stali ng bol siya kun. Leto nga sa ko, anong ayaw? Leto nga sa ko, ting nung ekom siya kun na. Ilaisen ko to, kinay tampiyon mo leto mo. Amaw tiyan bang ka, Jesu piyan ma, kung nga zabuka ka, hells, umda na siya mo. 7 hells, baka nag-gen kayo. 26 heavens, baka nag-gen kayo. Aba na 24 jinas bang ka, in the book of Revelation na ka, upasom nililitin si bang mo. Ilaisen ko, kimuha. Kasi na hiya, susunsak ka, kiltam piti ka, laisen ko to, kitay mama, umok ding he, paite ka, et home de ka, sa tua kichi ka, akibat na, television kya ka. Tu na amaw tin bel, kay chidan hong gen diw. No na laisen ko, kay sanga, na pangzoy na ka, kay kong apan hells kichi kong, heavens kichi kong, kuwaite apan ina na lakso no hichi kong, kagel mitin hong gen diw. Ay kaya lihay 24 jinasi kong, ay kaya solom dan kong ka. No tena, sa ko dang apan nalako hichi dan kong min hong dem diw. Ay luhay kang defend hey dia ka. Kaya laisang tawa pan alako hizoy, chita na kami convince okay ni kamo. Amaw sa kwa, apan ka sa kwa, Christian sa kong tibolda na ka, min ngay tuwa hiyo. Pwede kong kawit ka, a basic knowledge pen ka. Iti di ngay. Adi tela na ti utulek, kaya internet tung to din mo. Ason ti di nga, kaya mo na umti ay kailan na sa tini ko mo, kaya wifi hot ma iniya mo. Kaya sunong ko nga ka, nasa utulek, kaya mo na nung paidiw mo. Kaya tung to na, ka zon hiyak hik, kil tampi, password ka, nyan liyaw, sunong kipili ka hiyak mo. Ito na klase na zang mok leo sun ekten sun kapelo din ay siya na siya ka class jok siya ka na utan tanong mo zat hedi nga he internet ka detail ka Jainism's belief ti type leo sun mo a detail ang de he ile hoy ta na ka zilman de kaya a basic thing leo ka fundamental sounds thing hong gen le ke khale jana internet tung to na kala kya kaya alai bua ka tamlo icha ke na hiya en net tung to na kala kek do tu tingkal konkret na hiya en do dula lang kalam pe ka Jain philosophy. Jain philosophy can be described in various ways, but the most acceptable tradition is described in terms of tattvas or fundamentals. Teka bang jiva kichi ka soul achi mo amo sa point ka soul ka bang chira na ginta wala ya patibat law na en dule all living beings are called jivas. Jivas have consciousness known as the soul. No, egin dang ka bang ay chu. Kain ka thik na ne hi chi ka. Which is also called the atma. Atma ka soul chi na hiya. The soul and body are two different entities. The soul cannot be reproduced. Soul ki chi khat ve. Ipian kyak mung ka soul ki ka adang ki khek no lo mo soul ki chi khom den ding. It is described as sort of energy which is indestructible. Tang to nom data. Indestructible, invisible, shapeless. Jainism divides jivas into 5 categories. No, 5 categories. The body is merely a home for the soul. Present lesson sa mga bang na ito mo the body is merely the home for the soul. At the time of death, the soul leaves the body to occupy a new one. Ito mo happen, a Christian kaya ito, kikal ta. To occupy a new one. Chiyo chama ka, bahayang katalud di, chiyo ka. And well, soul pen ka, misi ko ki nga kom namuna. Pa ki nga kom di himay mo. Mi haw sa pala lazarom na muna ka, ki nga kom di ka. Tirthankaras have said that the soul has an infinite capacity to know and perceive mo. soul isi nung jangai khai na khopok na nei lai ding chi Christian te ding ta. This capacity of the soul is not experienced in its present state because of accumulated karmas. Yai idam sunga ka isolina ay khopok na chiama isolina huchbang the feel thelo bang jekina karma sa chi kha leitunga ikhel na atam lo jaka hoiten kha pai soul de dan ichiama khopok na pen kha hei ke zo lo hei je hei hoi jaka hoi khel na te pen bang chibanga suk bei ding chi kha anoi om dinga ya jiva ke chi kha ajiva non living matter ma ajiva ye capture na ajiva soul nei lo te kha ajiva ke chi ha ala soul nei lo wa ko te kha bang hi di le ma medium of motion, medium of rest, space, matter, time. Swang khom hilal dei jong le le swang khom hilal dei tangbel abstract things te kha hilal dei cha. Abana punya ki chi kha results of good deeds achimo good deeds. Now is a cheng na ye punya pen kha ki promote to di chi da nai dei jo. We appear punya good deed. Bang chidana he punya pen attend providing food or other items to the needy people. Doing charity work. Abana propagating religion. Asa ko midang kya sin sakding. Puchi le ka apunya pen ka hong mature ding. Puchi na it bring forth worldly comfort and happiness. Kale itu ngaka muan nale ki pa na hon peding. Tehya ay labana ka pap kiti mane. E pa wa le pap kong ki chimi ta ma le apap na pojo ke di chi khamo ama pa wa nei da na jo result of bad deeds ma le result of bad deeds ki da na to pap ki chi ha ama sa po pan ke de chi lo kala ha by undertaking bad activities we repair pap or bad karma such activities ki che bang pap ki chi ha hin kwa bang cheda na ki khol khom ni chi wa le being cruel or violent ma violent being cruel, violent, showing disrespect to parents or teachers, being angry or greedy, and showing arrogance or indulging in deceit. When pipe mature, why help na penong pitching cheng na it bring forth worldly suffering. Why na worldly suffering? Leto na benthik na intok na amomdeng misery and unhappiness. Dana ito. Ito na lekhala ito kikalwan na kaya. Abana asrava kichika influx of karmas. Hinona. Asravas kichika. Asravas kichika hin kwam hoi lo na thilong lut thei te kha. It is caused by wrong belief. Ikin na dik lo te akele vo lessness. Vo kichika mau kha ngai sang ma au ki chiam na mo. Heu tu pau Mahavira in le vo silence. Kum som ni sum ding den Paulo wa. Paulo din a vo la mo kcha khama vo eloi na I vo chi sum khameres vo ki chi khom le zoma ngai sangu na zui lo zoma wai tan zoma patience negligence and psychological activities chi te kha influx of karmas abana ban ki chi le ma ko ni danai zoma na ban ki bol banga meaning ki thela ama ban ki chi kha banga le. This refers to the actual binding of karman particle to the soul. Ban occurs when we react to any situation with sense of attachment or aversion. Ban kichi ha again dan ko kha bang yam chi le I kha thil bam khat bet mo akit heino lo dinga a bet den te kha ban kichi so ban ban ma pawn hesel abana samvar ke chika bang chinale stopes of karmas samvar tani changa penbel ihin kwa asya dang bet theno lo china ya influx of karman particle is stop this achieved by observing samiti ke carefulness mo ihin kwa ihong pil bang ma a gupti ke chi self control hoi tak ihong ya abana mongsut mo Dana ingom thi cheng ina kaya I khel na khanin hin kwa ni be no loading ban no loading chi nai chu ato abana nirzana ke chi kha eradication of karmas ke chi kha mo te kha ni chi long keleng angel du le ama kin ta dana kha hin kwa kha punya pen kha ha sak sem the good deeds pen kha ha sak sem hu chi ke le kha hin kwa kha pap ke chi mo khelna ke chi kha he asrava ke chi kha hin kwa I kha isola khang be sem de hoi sola be abek dan kha ban a chi wa abek pen kha ban a hiya abana hin kwa isola kha a hoi lo pen abek no no de gina nir zara ke chi kha samvara pen kha hoi a hoi lo kha hin kwa adan ke be ap no lo ding chi na hiya nirzana ke chi pen ka hin kwa ani na be te teng lak khyak na mo hoi pen pai khyak na pen kha eradication of karma kha nirzana ke chiwa achiwa ai la top na kha hin kwa thil hoi lo teng i pai khyak khik cha gina moksha voksai lo moksha liberation hot tam na chi kha moksai chu. When we get rid of all the karmas, we attain liberation or moksha. Padam na nga, it is. Moksha is represented by the clean house, which is similar to the setting of all karmic particles from the soul. In what you know, think if I get checking a amount of tak at moksha, liberation, when not you. Mahavira, probably born in the year 599 BC. Yang here, exited Penhat, Akiteke, Amal Dana took 13th day of the bright half achiwa bright half achi kamo kha akim khat ai lai ta ka kamo when the moon was waxing at the moon of chaitra kha banga chi kha March le April ai le chu thukun lu ya di na akum thaku ma thukun lu hun lai mi te jura te kum thak hun lai ta ka pian sakda no chu bright half achi le chu akha kim khat khong ni le kha 1415 idia by Passover feast zalai tak kong hili jumo. The festival to commemorate this known as Mahavira Jayanti. Calendar kong nila chun Mahavira Jayanti ka holiday hili jumo government. Bang chinay chila Mahavira pian ni yan himay maay chun. Waban amawa dia a celebration here Jainism te dia ka a festival min thang khar bangale para Yusana Parva kichi ya hepen ka festival for the Jains. There is an 8-day period during which many Jains fast and carry out the religious activities. Nigyat ka ang molum chin. Kahuna ka religious activities to ang boluk. Hepen ka mano August September kalak ya hiya. August or September chit na pen ka thukun lui a hunsim dan to kina imama azia ka. Anay to diule. August kim khat le September kim khat kan kamawa dia khat no. Pasya ka khani wam to gi so kai Hebrew calendar dana ha. Jains perform worship during the Jina idols kita Jina 24 Jinas na yu chika genta and lighting a lamp in front of the idols. The worshipper entered the temple with the words Namo Jina Nam. Chi wai thu ka gen gi dai chu. I bow to the Jina and repeat 3 times Nisihi to relevant his thought about worldly affairs. Hoy jaga sa khomi ma mau chit na ahi amao khamo. Sa khomi lo talun chen sipai le pang thailo. Chi mo. Akela lo le pai thailo. Si hitel dan hewa. Gamla khong ale sing khong le pasar nam lo do chu mo. Sing pasar le kha bang chini. Ganing khong thap khadiu. Hoy jaga lampia pai chang wale. Khwal jin khong le bol lo do chu mo. Mixi khong si gum kha le lao di chang ma. Hoy jaga sa kho kha extreme low chi thuin chen ma. India gammi te tamzo kha. India maintain influence hiu. Even our father of our nation lekha yen influence ka mo. Hoy jaga non-violence te tum pum pe min than na kawai. Ai la dam kha enjoy do le Hinduism kha. Important company nga non chat test ding kha. Hinduism bang chukuma ke pan khale. Prehistoric ke jemole. prehistoric kichihang akatang pia ka 2000 BC kong Abraham hun kong aka Hinduism ke pandida na hintai. Tunya scripture din ngai mo. Abraham ka koi kwale koi komiale Abraham ka Ur is famous for idolatry kichisu history ama. Kaja ka Hindu te pathian kong adi ma omi dei chu Ur kwa ha. Milim pathian tamna. Kaja ka Abraham la kong ka Hindu sa kwa ki pandida na ka hindare milim diak na sa kwa ha. No individual founder mo Hinduism pendel. Buddhism ka kwale Gautama Buddha Hinjin Jainism ka kwa Nakaputa Verdamana Mahavira. Oh. Ale sacred, what are the 5 sacred books of the Hindus? Chilian nung na di ka bang? The Vedas, Brahmanas. May ka-spelling dito yo. Brahmanas. Spelling mistake. Upanishads. Aba na bang? The Bhagavad Gita and the Mahabharata. No, Mahabharata. Kaya ilay sang tawa Kings. Chronicle chitera na ka. Akum piu hatak takte gen na ka Mahabharata ki gen ngay. Ay le, the next question kage exciting dong lato na. What is the name of the universal spirit according to Hinduism? Universal spirit ka Brahman. No, well soul. Brahman na chido. Who were the tree? Who were the tree? Trimutri teka po kwa hi wale? Brahma, the creator, Vishnu, the preserver, Shiva, the destroyer. Na chi se di wa hi nga. Ay Hindu te na ka ming masapen ko ya le. Ming masapen. Pasang masapen kwa. Aji ka po kwa. Numi masapen aji le chi tuan ke mo. Numi masapen kwa. Satarupa. Otak siyang te di. Ay ming te pen amaw nu pakala pa nong piang chi hele. Ming te pen kwa ke pan ke bol ke chi wale. Manu apan dai ma le. Evi ka bang apa nong piang ke le. Adam nago apan evi ke bol ke dama ka. Manu a ke pan khamo. Nago che kaya nago hilaw yo. Kaya hat mo namuna. Aja ka hat namuna pan kelakian hem namai de ha. Hai le manu lutan age pan kwatem peng ke wale. From Manu hands, who? Satriyas. And from Manu's thigh, Vaishyas. And from Manu's feet, Sudras. Brahmins kote ya Satriyas, Vaishyas, Sudras kote yang chile na titi wo. Ito lang kilong di kahin. Important yan pet mahe hay teka. What happened to the soul when a man dies? Out of his body and immediately enter into the body of a newly born baby. Newly born baby. Newly born baby. If he lives a good life, he is born to a higher caste. If he lives a bad life, he is born to a lower caste. What if a man keeps on leading one bad life after another? He might be born even into he born as a dumb animal. Bad elephant is bang hiding. Bad elephant kang piang non chang bang hiding. A dog. Dog kong piang non chang bang hiding. Mosquito. Mosquito na simbo mama. Ano mo mama? Oh, thô tán. Mà kale mosquito ka namin thang tenda na yun. What if a man keeps on being good one life after another? Brahmins sapiang do. Brahmins they come hoi ule bang today. Comes to an end. His life cycle comes to an end. His life cycle comes to an end. It's saying bang today. It returns to the world soul. Brahman. No, not Brahman. World soul today. Pen come out. Highest goal. May so. Patian hong suak jiang ma hoi come out. Allah se may the greatest happiness so can attempt. Ama individual identity pen bel mang di mo. Patian so le bang anok wan di la mo. Ama hi na pen mang di mo kai chang a. Anok na jom ton lo di mo. What is reincarnation? Chito nam ni di bang ala ton na di what is reincarnation? The people's soul enter again into another body after they die. The belief of souls being reborn again and again. Small reincarnation. No. What is karma? What is karma? Karma bang niya. It is the law of the deed. What is the law of the deed? Good should be rewarded with good and evil should be punished with evil. Evil should be rewarded with evil. No? Evil should be punished with evil. What is the law of the deed? What is the law of karma? What is the law of karma? Come on. If one does good, he is rewarded for his goods, for his good deeds in the next life. If one does evil, he is punished for it in the next life. This is karma. Understanding that people know. And the general belief of Hinduism, the essence of Hindu is the oneness of all things. Til teng teng ka, tumal ka da kipan hiu chika bangala mau ka. Ilai sang thole jenis bungkat na ka pa thegen kilabol lai ka bang gen na kale. Om hen. Hindu ten lekha om ki. Om in ka til teng teng bo kya ti chaman ka. Mai ka om no why sound na len til teng teng bo hoi ti chi dang ai chama ka. Why sound na len le come on. Brahman. Weaker minds. Ama ka pathian khat ne naun chen mo. Nang ai pathian khat ne naun chen. Kaya weaker minds sa ka. Lungsim halo ten ka. Pathian ka khat chi ka. Thei bun loi chengwa pha. Banga chi wale. Pathian bang za ne wale Hindu ten ka. 330 million gods. Lấy dạng lấy thử kiến thì điểm mà about the ancestor can phale worshipable. Brahman made all things from itself. Achia ilai sing thon pendel pathena ni khat ni chin phak ita kena step by step in gena. Kaya Hindu temple again the universe has no reason or purpose. Ama lamang ki bol khia thita jel mo ma ka. Ai Brahmana ki panama lamang ki bol khia. Patheni na bol chi le chet lo mo. Only Om is reality, but it permits the universe to appear real to man. Imu teng teng pen atak tak kilo he. Che chama illusion dale la ngai to. Atak tak kilo he. Ngay to na le hi chu il hai pen ka practical life kilo mo about all life represent different level and representation of Brahman. All life hinanai ting ka pathian om chi ka gin ka now here man has duties discovered or experience the Om, the Brahman within. Ama okay na highest duty pen ama iming sunga ka pathian om hi chi pen hai Om om hi chi pen here. About many say from unreality, ignorance, illusion, not from the sin as moral evil. Ama hote na hot dam na achi penu ha. Ming te pen, I ema ikithei swa changa. ki thei so na me ki thei so na ke pen ke hi lo ka hi ha ke pen ke hi lo ka hi chi pen ki thei so na ne chang ma ka patam na nga ta le ki to wa about Jesus Christ along with Krishna, Buddha, and many other men are incarnations of Brahman. Hoy ka Jesus Christ yung kong lebe mo kamo apatyan teo la ka khata nang to isak le he. There is no revelation of truth from God to man. Amaw te na thutak kichi patyan nang pelawa he. Jesu no revelation of truth. Patyan thutak bukim kichi kha min te nga pelaw. Puchu kom na pin amaw Bhagavad Gita kong kha ai ke la Vedas kong kha lai chen thau pom thep thup sel amaw le ki ka mo ai hangina amaw he no absolute truth chi pen kha ekena ko lai chen thau pen thutak buk ki ma hi ka che mok le pai hong ging tak sak lo di mo amaw ka no le adik na ta dom ding ko wale adik na ta dom di chi be di mo absolute truth om lo hi chi da na yo hoy ja kai te na history of the Bible la kha ila chen thau pen adik na amon hoy na pen hoy ka na sin lu kula hi hai kai te na nial ti na digina abana every way of religion is equally true as the partial expression of Brahman. Hoy ja ka Hinduism kha universal religion hong so thi na kha ba amao ten every religion pen hamo amao sakwa dana kha amao sakwa pat ki pan dana kha lalu the ka kai changwa universal religion dana kha hoy India te min tham na pen tua kha India te apa na kha India kha letung a sakwa tamzo ki pathek na le India ma hin so aban Hinduism ki chi kha tua hong modify to mo hong modernize de noi ja ka Hindu teacher te khong kha Hindu sakwa sadhu te khong teacher te khong leitung pumpia min thang tao che tua kha ko ma anyal zo lo mo khovel pil na ting to la mau khawai kha science la mau science pe dok tok thei dia asa ko modify bang sa ko hitalele Christian sa ko ina Islam sa ko hitalele amao sa ko to ke tok thei dia hong modify to do ichama kha universal religion dana hong zat so bu mai ja kami tampi hong tho zo hi te at top ba pen simjol dule the Hindu is system of confusion, contradiction, and frustration. Unadmitted in Israel.
Without any assurance as to whether he is progressing or regressing. The hopeless struggle who has always been, who can free me from the weight of my karma, accumulation of gifts from many lives, and get me out of the wheel of transmigration. Jesus Christ asserted for in
Matthew 18:28-30 akabang tin hi malen na fi khawya ana sim khalo mo no pogit poteo kapyan hong payun ken ban kong pidi chele I'll give you rest no ano ngai layo he Hindu te kha confusion ki chu mo Hindu sa kwa kulmun ma ama Hindu siam pu pa khat badong leo chin le mo nang hiai mun ana umma khanida nga banga na piang na hiya chetong le chin thelo di chu ama la singa ma gum de mo ke na pian non cha bangin na piang dia chetong le chin yang dong thelo di confusion aba na contradiction asa ko ko huap lian lot tele changa awa lo mo ki contradict na tam piom di esindi na absolute truth om lo hi chidiu ai hangina amao sa ko pen dik pen da na gen ve di mo contradiction tampi of frustration till tampi adon thelo on te jaka frustration tampi le amao ne hi wajaka leitung philosophy to pangkele wasa ko ka so lo di leitung philosophy to pan je ko ka asa ko pe no khamin tanda kina adem thei ke chi thole len frustration ha ma di mo wajaka Hindu sa ko sin sak tu hi na dia ka leitung ale BML and doctorate degree sam tu tinga masak nai chu puchi ke lamau sa ko sin sak thei bol ki lo chi ho chu hoi jaka Hindu siam pu te phong kha nomok si mo hat lo di mo aja kha mo le tung pil na sem mala male atok tung tengin kha sak kwa sin sak kwa pa ma heu chi thei mo alu ko jak le lo kana sim mo bo le mi mai a hong su za la ke di amao ten ka thousands of rebats mo hoi ba na thousands of rebats ni mana progress sang de do yan niam de hiam ning chi hi kya le niam jel di che mo le ato tung thei lo do chu mai jak hopeless chi pen ko wai ahi na ka hi ya thousands of rebats million times from born again dia chu mo bang chi cha hot dam na mu ma de la mai jak the hopeless cry of the Hindu all has been kachika free me from the weight of my karma chi na Jainism again do mo free me from the weight of my sin hoi ka khel na apan bang chi bang asok ta ding ka hi che hi ya thousands of rebats a wai khel na apan so tak di alamet na wa hi la ai Christian sak wa sing sak na pen bel ni khat thua le hoi khel na ting ting no sop siang thei ni khel na pa le na so tak thei na hai Christian sak koi na on sing saka hai ba na i pian non chang na chi om lo mo pian thak na hi me ya wai pian thak na ki chang si chang a kha van tung yam me de lian che kai la sing thoi ka wa ha ki chian tak lamet na chiang tak no me de lamen de de tung pa thei na sak wai sing sak mo siang vet ai chu mo le kha i thei chiang pa ai chu ma ban de ka ale Buddhism kind of important hai kha Buddhism a kha when was it founded bang chikuma ki pangkya 6th century BC founder kha Gautama Buddha dianga ai le dam he la kha Buddha to Mahavira kha ko upajo wale taksalama Mahavira upajo jamala ka jaga Buddha ma de kha Mahavira nang kinahi kung som thum khong ki khai chang wa baptist person ka Jesu Christ sang khagu ka upazo chidan de wa khama kha Mahavira pen ana upazo ka nai a secret book kha bangale Buddha secret book kha Tripitaka three basket of wisdom china ya Buddha ina azile ka ain sung anot sia nizam kha bang ki chale great night of the great bangale renunciation ki chilo yan nanot wa nalai bo en thak leo chen great renunciation ai what are the four sides of Buddha ki chi kha the chances life chi kha bangale a man all skin and bones mo ani na ka an old man atum na ka funeral procession ali na ka bang an old monk dressed in coarse yellow robes but begging for food but calm and happy yain ka hin ko khek na kamo 29 year Buddha ahi ma ka Gautama pen ka kum som ni le kwa hi ka beggar monk India aina tai sat ni jam ka the blessed night of the great renunciation ka nanam don ti kamo yam ta while fig tree theipi kum kichi se he jama ila sing thole theipi kum kichi kha amin phang be la male Jesu na ham siat sing kum pen le theipi kum hi ya zakai kal namun le bangale theipi kum le jama le fig tree Buddha pian thak namun le kha bang theipi bun boya theipi kum boya pian thak ai jama kamo le kum tam pia zon nunga kha hoi theipi kum boya kha atut tut lai kha thong ba alung tang alung sungai to nam wa phua pin chen ko cha kama kha enlightened one nge che ma salva ka pa chen ai cho Buddha ke chi kha salva ka pa chen ai ai le Buddha ina hin kwa azil khyak ma sak pen kha bangale but the first law of life amu kha te keep wisdom kha bang from good must come good and from evil must come evil ha first law of life achi pen here Buddha ka enlightened one pes na eno lai asing kong tu namun ka bang tree ke chale the bo tree ma tree of wisdom bo tree chi ma ka asing kong pen Buddha lem chang asing kong ge chang ka bo tree ma nalom teo Buddhist kong om le kha he kong sing sang na gen le chana ma thelo mai thei lai ti pa ma di ne sama Buddha earlier teaching te kha what is the road one should follow bangale Lampit middle part mo he alai pen ju ni. Awang lo te ju lo di mo. How can one find the middle part ita? What is the eightfold part? Right belief, right resolve, right speech, right occupation, right effort, right contemplation, right concentration. What are the 5 commandments of uprightness? Ala jana Jainism to ke ballo na pe ngin diule he kha exam changa kha confused din hiu a ke ballo na pe ngala do not kill ki chi kha ke bang mole ai ha na kha Jainism ma pe kha sau zo mo hat any living thing by word or by deed chi te lai chu do not steal ke bang, do not lie le ke bang mo, do not commit adultery ke chi le ke bang thoi chu, do not live unchaste life in khosyang tholo za lo dik chi kha Jainism ma hi ya he kha do not commit adultery chi le na ki na he kha different subject aban do not become intoxicated ki chi kha to 4 le 5 khat pai ko mo number 4 a Jainism ma akibel khabang do not covet or akibam na kha chiang te di wei he Buddhism ra kha sermon of Venera sa ki chia Tripitaka ki chia Jainism ina sidikwa na Jain aikele Mahavira na sidikwa na sin sakha bangale agamas kasi no agamas a difference ka nathi diwe al hedan hedinga no kha nei ta nai cha na ina hoi ke nong sim diwa next class ka 30 minutes sum class test nei de he hoi na fail le pen pass ho de ne password pen no malom teo na hit lo di wo password pen ken le ka bang hila password ni no te ngadi na